Are you planning to kickstart your personal finance journey this year? Are you trying to save your way up to your money goals? If you are, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, this is Charm again and welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and adulting how-tos. Today, we're going to be talking about something that has helped me immensely when I started my personal finance journey and when I started saving up for my goals. And that is money challenges or savings challenges. I love these because it gamifies saving and it really makes it more exciting because you know that you are checking something off or you know that you are making actual progress in your goals or your personal finance journey. I'll be sharing to you 9 savings challenges that you can try out, and also I'll be sharing 4 tips to make sure that it can work for you and also that you stick to it. So in our last video, we talked about goals and setting them. So this video should help you try to achieve those financial goals. So without further ado, let's start the video. Okay, so before we start with the first challenge, I want to share to you guys that we will be linking a Google Drive down below wherein you can download for free some templates that you can use for the savings challenge. They're very simple, so of course you can make your own or you can just print them and design them however you like. So first saving goal, I think is the most popular by far. It's the 52-week savings challenge. I did this when I was starting out with my personal finance journey around 3 or 4 years ago, and for me it was really life-changing. Savings challenges isn't really just about the end goal, it's really about building that habit, and doing this every week for 52 weeks or the entire year really changed my mindset about saving and about money. So there's a lot of ways wherein you can do this. You can put in the same amount every week. Like for example, if you want to put in 1,000 pesos every week, then that's 52,000 pesos in a year. You can also do incremental amounts wherein it slowly goes up or it slowly goes down. For example, I did it in 100 peso increments. So I started with 100 and then 200, 300, 400, 500. For this particular one, you will end up with 137,800 in 1 year. You can also start with the highest amount, which is 5,200. So other than uniform amounts or incremental amounts, you can also do it in random amounts. So for this, you can really just put in all the amounts that you want to try and achieve, and then you can randomly color in, or you can set it already at random in the list, and then you can choose to put more if you have more and less for the days that you don't have as much. So the second savings challenge is very similar, but this is a 26-week or a bi-weekly challenge. So I think this can also be good for people who get paid twice a month. So you can put in every payday, except that there are 2 extras for a mid-year bonus and a 13th month pay or end of the year bonus. So it really depends on how you're getting paid with your salaries, but you can put in money every, let's say, 15th and 30th of the month, and then an additional on June, or if you don't get mid-year bonuses, then additional 2 for December because we usually get Christmas bonus and 13th month pay. So here is an example. You can put in 2,000 pesos every payday or when you get bonuses, and you'll get around 52,000 pesos by the end of the year. So next savings challenge is roll the dice. So you can have an actual 6-sided dice and roll it every day, and that will determine how much you will set aside every day. So you can decide whether you're going to put in 1 times the amount, 10 times the amount, or 100 times the amount. So what that means is basically if it's a 6, you're going to put either 6 pesos, 60 pesos, or 600 pesos if you're a baller like that. So worst case scenario, if you get 60 pesos every day, that's 21,000 for the whole year. So this can be part of, like, for example, your morning routine. Like before you head out the door, you roll a dice and you put in how much ever the dice rolled to an alcansya or a piggy bank. So for this, since it really relies on luck or chance a lot, so it's not really necessarily for your goals per se. Again, it can be a little fun game that you do for your savings. So another version that I saw online for this is the temperature of the day. So for example, we live in the Philippines, so the temperature bounces around like 20 plus to 30 plus degrees. So maybe you can put in that amount every day as well, depending on what the temperature is that day. Okay, so number 4 is not necessarily a savings challenge, but the opposite. This is no spend challenge. So you guys know that I do a no spend month every February of the year. Why February? Because it's the shortest month of the year. It's just right after Christmas and Sinulog here in Cebu. So the magastos period is over. And I just like that it's towards the start of the year and I can really set my mind to be mindful about my spendings for the rest of the year. If you guys are interested about my no spend month or the no spend challenge, I have an entire video up on my channel, so you can check that out. You can do a lot of versions of this. It doesn't have to be 1 month, but basically the thought is that you won't spend on unnecessary expenses. So unnecessary expenses meaning shopping for unnecessary things, eating out, drinking out, having coffee or milk tea out, spending for entertainment. So it really makes you more creative with how you're going to finish the food in your pantry or to entertain yourself or your family or your significant other without having to go to the movies or the museum or stuff like that. So really making use of the free things around us. So again, I have an entire video about that, but some examples of versions you can do is like you won't spend 1 week every month for the whole year. You won't spend every Monday for the whole year. You won't spend for, maybe if you're a beginner, you can start with just 1 week. 1 month or the whole February is a bit extreme, but again, it's really up to you. I have a lot of versions in the template we posted in the Google Drive down below. Okay, next is a 14-day money savings challenge. So for this, you can do a lot of things. So this is really just to get the momentum rolling. So it doesn't really have to be that you're setting aside or saving money every day for the whole 2 weeks. You can start by tracking your expenses, getting your finances in order, trying to figure out what your financial or money goals are. So for this 2 weeks, it's really about getting into the mind space and mindfulness of taking control of your finances and not being controlled by it. You can use this 2 weeks to go over your spendings for last year, trying to analyze where your money goes exactly, what percentage goes to food, what percentage goes to being budoled. So it's really all about being familiar with your own personal finances. So the 2 weeks is really for that quote wherein you can't manage something that you can't measure. So familiarize yourself with your own money habits and you can see where you go from there. Okay, next is the invisible challenge, and this is very simple. You can choose a coin or a bill that you want to make invisible. For example, you want to make invisible 100 pesos. So every time you encounter 100 pesos, you will not spend that. You will set that aside and save it. So I tried to do this with 200 pesos. So 200 pesos is more rare than 100 pesos. I got to save around 4,000 pesos within like 6 months, which is not bad. And I didn't really feel it as much because I don't come across 200 pesos that often. You can try this with the 20 peso coin or the 50 peso bill. It really is up to you. The thing that I want to remind you guys about this though is to try to put it into a savings account maybe every quarter, because I also don't want to encourage you guys to hoard these types of money for a long time because you're going to keep it out of circulation as well. So you can do like a little accounting every quarter or every 6 months and put it in a separate savings account. Alright, so next savings challenge is the spare change challenge. So it's very self-explanatory. Every time you come across spare change, so it can be, for example, all the coins that you come across, you will put it in a jar or in a piggy bank. And for a certain period, again, you do a little accounting, you deposit into a bank. So with these loose change kasi, we don't normally feel that we're spending them because they seem to be really small amounts. But that's really when I say like every peso counts and they really do add up. So an example for this is I didn't really tally how much I was spending for parking because 10, 15, 20 pesos seems very small. But when I started to add up how much I was spending for parking alone, I was shocked to see that it was also like around 400 to 600 pesos every month. So that's also around 6,000 pesos in a year. And it's money that I would probably be asking where it went if I didn't count all the times that I'm parking. And it seems like it's loose change lang, but it really does add up. So yeah, that's another fun way to save. The next one is the monthly savings plan or the monthly savings challenge. So again, very similar to the 26-week or 52-week challenge, you're basically setting an amount of how much you want to save every month. So with this, it really can make you be more mindful to set aside money first or to prioritize savings. So if you missed my previous video wherein I talked about this simple equation, then I'm going to remind you what we usually do is that when we get our salary or income, it directly goes to expenses, and then what's left of it is what we set aside for savings. Sometimes it's very small, sometimes it's zero, sometimes it's negative, or we eat up our past month savings, right? So this way, savings is really not a priority. But when you flip it around and every time you get your income, the number one priority is to save and invest, and then what's left of it is what you budget for your expenses. This way, you can make sure that your savings is constantly growing because you're putting importance to it. You're prioritizing saving over spending on your necessary or unnecessary expenses. So you can use the monthly savings plan for this. So again, you can do either uniform amounts, incremental amounts, or random amounts, very similar to the weekly challenges. Okay, lastly is to tax yourself. And what this means is that every time you want to spend, make sure that you are setting aside 3 times that amount first. So this can really make sure that every time you buy something or shop for something, you can really afford it. So for example, you want to buy a mechanical keyboard that costs 2,000 pesos. You first have to save 3 times that amount. So you have to set aside 8,000 pesos so that you can spend the 2,000 and save the 6,000 pesos. I think this is also called the savings ladder. I think I saw this on TikTok, but I think it's very effective for you to really, again, double down and prioritize saving versus spending on things that might not really be very important. So yeah, tax yourself every time you want to buy something non-essential. Okay, so those are the 9 money challenges that I want you guys to check out or try out for yourselves. Now let's talk about 4 tips on how you can personalize them and make sure that you stick to them and actually go through with all of these challenges for the entire year. So first and most important is to name your goal. That's why our last week's video is all about goal setting, smart goal setting, because if you don't know what your end goal is or if you don't know what you're saving up for, that can also affect your motivation, that can make you question why you're setting aside money, what is it for, diba? So make sure that you know what it's for, how much you need, how much you aim to save, and it's also good to make it a little bit challenging so that, again, if you fall short, it's still a pretty good place to be. So your goal can even be that you want to create a habit of saving, so that can also be it, as long as you have a clear purpose of why you're doing it and you're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. The next is to visualize your progress, and this is where our templates can really come in handy. Visualizing your progress is not necessarily just for beginners, because I myself, until now, I like to have a meter of how far I've gone or how far am I from the goal or from the top. So it's really satisfying when you're able to mark an X in your calendar or put a check beside the amount that you're supposed to save or to color it in. Whatever way you want to do it, make sure that it's something that works for you, it's fun for you. So visualize your progress so that you would be more motivated and really get excited to reach your goals. Next is to not spend your savings. It seems so obvious, but I have to reiterate this because this was a mistake that I did before. A tip that I can give you guys is to separate your savings account from your payroll or your income or your daily expenses account. So when I did this, it was mind-blowing because I can see the amount going up every month. And I know that that is money that I don't owe anyone. I'm not going to pay bills with that money. So I really get excited and get encouraged when it goes up and up. Keeping your money safe by opening another savings account without a debit card or maybe even online banking, and maybe having a money jar or a piggy bank can really just assure you that you don't get tempted to spend the amount that you've been saving so hard for. And then lastly is to have an accountability buddy. Needless to say, it's just more fun when other people are doing it with you. Diba? You're not so KJ because all of you are also saving. So when I first did the 52-week savings challenge, my fiance was actually the one who suggested it to me. And when we did that, we really got to finish the entire year because we were so encouraged. We would check up on each other if we already put in the amount to our savings, and it was just overall more fun and we were more accountable. An accountability buddy can be your best friend, it can be your sibling, it can be your entire family, your significant other, and it can be even random people on the internet. So if you didn't know already, we have a Facebook group called Ready2Adult Ph wherein people there keep tabs on people. They become each other's accountability buddy, and overall it's just a really healthy community for adulting and personal finance. So yeah, I encourage you guys to join our Facebook group to be part of the growing community over there. So yeah, those are all our savings challenges and tips on how to stay consistent with them throughout the entire year. Just a reminder that personal finance is personal. Don't compare your progress with other people's progress. Don't compare the amounts that you see, for example, in our template. If it's too low for you or too high for you, make sure that you personalize it on what fits best for you, because personal finance is not a one-size-fits-all. It depends on your income, on your expenses, and everything else in between. So yeah, I hope that this video encourages you to save up and to gamify reaching your financial goals through these savings challenges. I hope that you like this video enough to hit the thumbs up because it really helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload another video. And also share this video with your friends and families. I know that adulting can be hard, but personal finance doesn't have to be. That's why I love making these videos for you guys. Again, this is Charm, and I will see you on my next video. So yeah, you can also